Okay.
Oh, yeah, let me go ahead and get you introduced. This is my friend and business partner, Greg Smith. We've been friends and partners for a good long while. And Greg, this
Yeah.
is my old college classmate from back in the day at the Ohio State University, Miss Aya Fubara Eneli. Did I say your name correctly?
You said it perfect. Thank you.
Okay. When I saw your name, I thought it was Spanish. It looked so familiar. Since I'm a Cuban descent, so I thought it was, you know, the way I would have pronounced it as Aya Fubara Eneli or Italian. So, you know.
Yes, so that has helped and hurt me sometimes. People have invited me for interviews, and when I show up, they're like, this won't, you know, they can't say it, but I can see it on their faces. This isn't quite what we were expecting.
Oh, yeah. College chums.
Yes, sir.
I went to Ohio State for a half an hour. To this day, the class that I was looking for, I never found. I could not tell you where it was at. Now you're talking about, I'm aging myself. I'm just talking about late 70s, early 80s. Okay? I couldn't tell you where that class is to this day, but doesn't matter. But
unmute yourself, Aya. You're still on mute.
Okay, can you hear me now? I said you look great to be talking about 80s.
yeah, I'm 61 years old. Just turned 61 in May. So
I guess black don't crack.
well, I heard that saying before. Some black don't crack, because I've seen some black crumble. Okay, really, I'm
No,
honest with you.
That's usually they've lived a hard life.
Well, whatever. I'm just saying. I mean, I've heard that all my life, and then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. That kind of theory doesn't really hold water that much anymore. But you know, I guess I try to take care of myself. I've been in martial arts for 40-something years, so I keep active.
Oh wow.
I grew up dancing Latin, salsa, merengue, bachata, because on my mom's side, my dad's side. So you know, I did all that stuff. I guess that helps. You know, try to eat right.
Yes.
Right now, I'm drinking green iced tea, so that has a lot of antioxidants and stuff in it. So,
yes.
So what do you do? How you pronounce your name? Ayala? What is it?
You can just call me Aya. Aya Fubara Eneli.
Aya. Okay. What have you been watching me and Ken on live before? This kind of.
No, I haven't. Ken never invited me that I am aware of.
Oh, okay. What I started this kind of platform actually about 6 years ago. No, 2016, about 4 years ago. No, wait a minute, that's 5 or 6 years ago. And actually I was just doing it off my my cell phone. And I was outside just walking and talking and stuff. When this pandemic situation happened, this is when I brought it onto Zoom as a panelist, because we had another associate that joined us in the first back in March. I don't know what happened with him, but we was talking, telling people about, since everything got shut down, what alternative things people could do. As far as, there was sending people to work from home. Jobs were shutting down. Some worked from home, some couldn't, whatever. And we were just giving people ideas and training them on different things, because me and Kent, we have a lot of resources and digital tools that we use for online entrepreneurs that we have access to. And then we just train people. And, if you want those type of resources, we always tell people to either contact us on our Facebook page or whatever. So that's what we've been doing since March. I've been using this Zoom Panelist type style of technology, and I'm still learning it myself. It changes a lot. I guess a few months ago they were having some issues.
We haven't even tapped the surface yet on the information that we can bring. We're just scratching the surface.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are changing in the business world right now. And right now we just don't know. Nobody knows what's going to happen. That's why I was asking, what do you do? Are you one of those that are working from home, or what's your situation?
So I'm trained as an attorney.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I have been working. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So I'm trained as an attorney, got my law degree from Ohio State University way back in 1996, and worked as a higher education administration for a few years. I have been self-employed, owning my own company since 2002. Okay. And I do executive life coaching primarily. I'm also a best-selling author. I do a lot of corporate and inspirational events. So I speak at those events. Okay. And in my free time, I also practice a little bit of law.
Okay, so you're right on board of what we're doing. We always are emphasizing entrepreneurship, home-based business, whatever.
Yes.
Because of the way the environment has changed. But I've been working from home for 10 years. My background is in advertising, marketing, and graphic design. So this is right up my alley.
Exactly.
Actually, my other passion was film design, filmmaking, video. I have a background in that. I used to live in California, so I worked at all the major studios, which are now kind of trying to come back because of this pandemic. I just saw they're trying to resume a lot of the for the fall, a lot of the production, since they've been shut down since probably the latter part of the spring, since this pandemic has had, so it's affected everybody, and what me and Kent have been, bringing to the table is what people could do alternatively, because right now we talk to mostly a lot of times the network marketer professionals and stuff.
Yeah.
And right now, the way they were used to being trained to do all the face-to-face prospect, all that stuff has been shut down. Okay.
Yes, it has.
So you have the only alternative is to use social media and the internet to try to keep your business thriving. Because if you don't, and this is a new skill set people are going to have to learn. And even beforehand, there was an article right before the new year talked about that network marketers are going to have to learn to market and stop trying to do the face-to-face prospecting stuff. Right now, I don't see that coming back in the traditional form that it used to be, just because of what happened. People are going to be leery of trying to run face-to-face, all that kind of stuff with, we just got alerted. Well, when was that, Kent? Saturday or Friday? That is a mandatory mask wearing out in public in Ohio now?
Actually, it was Thursday.
Okay, it was Thursday? Okay. So we don't know what's going to come about with this. They're talking about we may be under all this type of stuff for 12 to 18 months. So with that being said, we're trying to give people understanding, resources, educate them on the alternatives that they really don't have a choice to do if they're going to stay live in business. Even your traditional businesses are going to have to utilize the internet. I said the internet is really the saving grace of the economy. If you think about the Spanish flu back in 1918, no social media, no internet. What was the economy like then when they got hit with the pandemic back then? You're talking about it was over 100 years ago. So, you know, when you have a health crisis and it affects people, then it affects the economy. You know, it was affecting the economy way back then. So, to me, I think some of the numbers on the unemployment, one thing to me, the problem is they base unemployment based off of you having to go to a physical entity on the job. That's where they're basing the unemployment at. But they don't look at the other group of people that are doing what we do, okay? Because we're not counted as the employee, quote unquote, okay? In that traditional sense. And so you say you're into the entrepreneurship. How long have you been online doing anything? Or is this?
Since 2011.
2011, okay. Okay. Well, that's probably when I started basically 2010. So I knew I was dabbling in it between 2008 and 2010, and then I went full blast on 2010, because a lot of things that came about between 2010 and now have changed as far as like technology, resources that we got now that we didn't have even in 2011. We didn't have all this in 2011.
No,
we didn't have this leveraging factor. So what we've been trying to get people to understand is that there are alternatives besides having to go to a job. There's a commercial that's been running here in Columbus. It's a law firm, and they're telling people if you were or need to file bankruptcies or whatever, we can do it using online strategies and stuff right now. So I know it's affecting all areas of business because people have to adjust, and there's really no other alternative that's going on now, even though they're opening stuff up. But look what's happening. We're getting all these spikes. And then where are you located at now?
I'm in Texas. I'm in the states that did not want to wear masks or social distance. So yes, we have.
Oh, it looks like she froze up. Hello?
Can you hear me? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, you froze up a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
I said I'm in Texas.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, that's all that area, Texas, Arizona, Florida are getting hit harder. And they were starting to call them the new New York.
Yeah.
Because of what is going on. What is up with that? That they don't want to wear masks. I don't understand that.
Elections have consequences. So when you elect people who are more interested in the economy than they are in people, you get the kind of leadership that we have as a country, but particularly here in Texas as well. So both Governor Abbott and the Lieutenant Governor Patrick decided they want to go the way of Trump. And actually, our Lieutenant Governor said, just go out there, and if the old people get it and die, that's fine, because the old people should be okay with sacrificing their lives for the economy. And so, so for a long time, even the cities and counties that tried to shut down or institute some ordinances orders like the masks, the governor of Texas came in and overrode them, similar to what Governor Kemp has done in Georgia. And now, of course, we have this incredible outbreak, hospitals that no longer have any ICU beds available, and it's spreading. The community spread is quite heavy here in Texas at this time.
Yeah, it seems like either Texas or Florida are in competition of who has the most cases. One day I hear Florida has the most cases. The next day I hear Texas. And then sometimes I hear Arizona. So it's like, that
Well,
whole
California is pretty high up in there.
right.
But
Yeah,
yeah, definitely we are the hot spots right now, those 4 states that you mentioned.
I used to live in California, and I lived in the Southern California area. I got a cousin that lives up in San Francisco area. Now, it seems that when they started getting a resurgence of this, it was more Southern California. Now it's spread up north, it seems like. Don't these guys understand the economy without people being able to spend money, shop, or whatever? If you got people who are sick, you got no economy. The economy your business doesn't run by itself. If you don't have people trading commerce, goods and services through your business, it don't matter what your bottom line, you'll lose your bottom line. If the whole country gets so sick where you don't have an economy, you might as well forget about it. I mean, that's it's kind of a stupid.
Well, they were operating under an assumption that unfortunately has been proven wrong, which is that young people either won't get it, or if they get it, they won't really get that sick. Therefore,
but the problem with that is what they're finding, that the young people are spreading to the elderly. Okay?
They're spreading it through the elderly, and some middle-aged and young people are actually getting hit very hard, and
right.
It's affecting their productivity, and some of them are passing away. And of course, as Black people in this country, we also have to recognize the fact that this coronavirus is hitting our community and the Hispanic community, a lot harder than it's hitting any other community. And so I think part of this issue of trying to downplay it or not wanting to really effectively address it really ratcheted up, if you will, once the numbers started to come in, that this disease was disproportionately affecting people of color. At that point, I think that the white supremacists, white nationalists who run our country were like, hey, let's just go out there, and those who are unable to survive die off, and then the rest of us are good. And this country has always been okay with sacrificing the vulnerable. And that is the history of this country. So that does not amaze me.
It sounds like they think that genetically that we are disproportionately affected by this virus versus where we're exposed to on how we have to work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I haven't seen anything that specifically says it's genetic. What I've seen and read so far is really, it's about the racial inequities that already exist in terms of who has pre-existing conditions, what kind of conditions, and then access to healthcare. So if you already live in neighborhoods that are filled with toxins, and that's where all these manufacturing plants are, and you have a higher incidence of asthma to begin with in those communities, then yes, you are going to see people who are more vulnerable to this disease, which attacks the lungs. If you talk about the lack of access to adequate health care, or even food deserts and what people can afford to get to nourish themselves, then you talk about people who have quote unquote comorbidities because they have high blood pressure or they have diabetes. And all of these things are linked more to the racism in this country, more so than a genetic predisposition.
Right. And then I think it's too, besides that, is where a lot of Black and Latinos, how they work, the jobs that they have, and a lot of those are subject, like these meat plants, like Amazon places and all this. They seem to be high density of infection.
We are the essential workers. Who do not get paid an essential wage,
and we're more exposed.
Who use public transportation, and who are more exposed to the virus and less likely to have health care.
Right. And like you said, when society looks at you as expendable, they, on the whole, they see that as acceptable losses.
Yeah. But the stupid part about it on their part is that if they think it's just affecting Black and brown, I've been seeing a whole lot more white folks dying off too from it. You know, And it's
Well,
crazy.
they're willing to sacrifice a few of their own too for their quote unquote common good. They did it with the Civil War.
Yeah.
And they'll do it again. So again, I'm not surprised by how this white nationalist government is responding to this pandemic. And every other country that has quote unquote the resources that America has figured out a way to flatten the curve,
Right.
and not to have these kind of hot spots and deaths, but not America, which says a lot about the leadership that we have.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, when I look at
Canada,
when you look at Canada and look at what Canada has done, frozen rents and mortgage payments, paid out a sizable amount each month to every person, including college students. So my son happens to be a student at Ohio State University, and so many of those kids now have evictions on their credit reports. Because when your work is tied to school and your school is closed, and now you have to figure out and anyway, there are no jobs out there necessarily that are hiring, unless, like you said, maybe Amazon. These kids couldn't make the money to pay their rent, and the landlords and landladies or whoever these property owners were not budging for these kids. And so I actually know some kids who now have evictions. Even though there was supposed to be a moratorium, the moratorium ended on Friday. So all of that, it's like, I have a client who's actually going to court on Tuesday because the papers have been filed, and now that the moratorium has ended, they can pursue this eviction against her. So we just have a government that does not care about, as Ken said, the expendables, and that is certainly how they're operating.
When this first came out, and I still have my wonders about it, I'm asking just from your standpoint, what you may think about. Do you think part of this, I'm going by what I read, what Trump said one time, it was in People magazine. He said, this is the same thing that happened if you go back to 9/11. And I remember my dad died 6 months after 9/11. And before that, I remember Christmas time, he said something about, I would not be surprised if 9/11 was something done on purpose, okay? Because you had Bush's numbers were way down also that time. Trump had made a mention, and I saw this on PBS Live. He said, maybe I need a 9/11 event to try to rally the country together. Well, but this is worse than 9/11, okay? So he didn't do what he needed to do to try to rally the country together. And sometimes even my mother said, well, it seemed like when they found out that this thing was affecting more Black and brown, they changed their tone on some things.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always read about certain things about depopulation and whatever. I don't put anything past anybody on what they may do. I saw some things about maybe that, this virus actually, they're always messing with stuff. There's this virus comes from a particular animal they call a horseshoe bat, okay? The problem is they're not sure if this virus went from straight to a human or if it went from the bat to another animal to a human. That's where they don't know. My question is, why in the hell are you messing with such an infectious disease like that, not knowing what it is? Because there was this, they said it actually came from this lab in China. Now, wet markets have been around in China for 5,000 years, okay? That's nothing new, okay? I used to live in LA. They had some of those, maybe not to the extent they have in China and Hong Kong, but they've been around. I don't buy, this is me personally, I don't buy that just the wet markets were the problem, okay? Something else was a problem, okay? That's just my thing. I don't know, can't prove it, but there's some common sense things that if you look at it, if you've had things like that for 5,000 years and all of a sudden you got some problems, there's something going on, okay? There's a lot of speculation. It was some of this done on purpose. You know, there's always talk about wealth transfer. We've always had different wealth transfers. We had one in 2010 just because of technology, okay? Do you have any thoughts on that kind of thing? Or, I don't know. I just don't buy just because, oh, it just came like that. I personally don't buy it.
Well, I mean, there's certainly a lot of theories that are out there. Trump seems to think that someone would have unleashed this virus on the entire world just to get him out of office, and maybe there's some validity to it. I have not seen any proof of that because, as we know, this is a world pandemic. How did it make its way from the bat at this time to human beings? I don't have that level of expertise either.
Me either.
What I do know that is that although eventually it's going to be important to trace these answers, in the interim, what we need to do is to stay healthy and to stay alive. And so at this time, I am primarily concerned with what my community is doing to take care of ourselves and to ensure that we are in a good place when this is all said and done. And when I say take care of ourselves, I'm talking about our health, but I'm also talking about wealth. I'm talking about what happens with our kids, because definitely this pandemic is changing how we do a lot of things. And we're not going to go back to our old normal. We're going to have to create a new normal. And the question is, how do we do that? So even now in the midst of this pandemic, we already knew that, according to their indicators anyway, that many of our students and the Black and brown students were behind already. And so the question is, with the possibility of schools not going back to face-to-face in the short term, what are we going to do as a community? How are we going to respond to the challenges of our time? So I would rather at this time really focus my energies on what can I do to help my community. And I would actually say that for the African American community, and really for all of us, because we're one race, that we are dealing with two pandemics. We're dealing with the coronavirus pandemic, and we're dealing with the race pandemic that have all come together at the same time. And this is an opportunity, if we so seize it, to bring about some systemic changes now that things have stopped long enough for us to hopefully pay attention to the fact that what COVID has done is just expose things that were already affecting us. Now the question is, what are we going to do about it?
Or what do we want to do about it? That's the real key. You know, we know what we need to do about it. You know, it's just like I always say, there always people say that can anybody have a business? Well, anybody can have a business. It's just, are they willing to do it? And the question is, are you willing? This is a big disruption. You either flow with this disruption, you don't, because you really don't have a choice. And it's going, and like you just said, we're not going to go back to pre-COVID time period. That economy, that thing is gone. So either I always look at it this way. We either got this situation happened two ways. Either Mother Nature got upset and decided, okay, I'm going to do this because man has been messing up with the environment. And I've always said that the earth was an organism and it's going to send something like they did the dinosaurs and wipe people off the face of the earth. Or it was done on purpose for a reason. That's just the way I feel about the thing. You know, I just heard some things that one of the reasons why they said this was spike, that they found that, and they said this was in Hong Kong, that they noticed that the virus has mutated about 4 or 5 times. Okay. So with that being said, you know, they're talking about all these vaccines. Now, if this thing is mutated that many times, then that's going to delay any type of immune therapy, vaccines, or whatever, because then whatever you've discovered and it's mutated may not be effective. So
that is true.
We're talking about 12 to 18, maybe, let's be real, maybe 24 months dealing with this. Because if it's mutating in the way they're saying, those vaccines that they're working on are mute, really. And this is why I try to, like you said, the communities are going to have to really look at what we do technology-wise as a necessity, not a luxury. When it comes to kids, if I had kids today, there would be no way in hell I send my kids back to school. No way. I wouldn't give a damn what Trump said.
I've said to these politicians, it is funny that you're canceling your conventions.
Yeah, but you want to send the kids back to school.
And the state's houses are still closed to visitors, but it makes perfect sense and it's safe for kids to go back to school. Yeah.
There's no way. I wouldn't care what Trump said. I wouldn't care the governor. I wouldn't care what the mayor said. I said, you know what? I ain't sending them back to school. What you gonna do about it? I'm not sending them to school. Okay? If you don't have people there to initiate and work in the school, you don't have no school, no way. If, like I said earlier, if you don't have people to drive the economy through commerce, spending, and the only way really now, the stock market is not the economy. People drive the economy by goods and services.
Well, even the teachers, a good number. What was this report I heard on NBC News, that 1 in 5 teachers are not going back because either they have health conditions, or they don't want to pass it along to the kids, or God forbid if the kids have it, they don't want to get in. That 1 in 5, that's quite a bit of teachers not wanting to go back.
If you don't have any teachers to teach, if you don't have any teachers to teach, what you gonna do?
I believe in Florida, the teachers have sued the government because you're shutting everything else down, but you're saying go back to school. So those teachers have actually decided to organize and to come up against the governor.
Well, you know what? I did my bachelor's, I did my master's all online when it wasn't popular. Okay? So all these people that got this crazy idea thinking that you can't learn online, they're crazy. Okay? I've been doing stuff online, training and stuff online for 10 years and stuff. It's not always necessary that you gotta be always up in somebody's face to learn something. Okay, we are not in that situation, and we better learn to adjust with the situation that we are in, or we're not going to survive. The economy is the only reason I feel that the economy is kind of staying afloat is because of this technology, because of e-commerce, because of social media, because of all these technologies. We are staying afloat. There are some monies exchanging hands, be it electronic or whatever, is the reason why we have not gone into a hyper recession is because of technology. Okay,
that's right.
So this is one reason why I have been doing this, especially since me and Kent got together and another partner, trying to educate people who want to listen about the truth and stop, you know, the media is going to only say things because they want ratings. They just came out of a ratings battle, and they're going to tell you a bunch of stuff just because they're rating things. So you can't listen to them all the time. Then everybody wants to say, well, you can't listen to what's online and in social media. Well, you know what? The people like us, we don't care about ratings in that aspect. That's not what our agenda is for. We're trying to get information, because information is powerful, and is even more powerful when you implement it and consume it and put it to good use. And this is what this whole thing that I created back in 2016 was meant for. Didn't know we were going to have this Zoom type thing, because when I started, we didn't have Zoom. I don't remember there was a Zoom in 2016. If there was, it was just coming on. I don't think, well, they had live streaming, but it's not to the extent they have it now. And there are so many tools and stuff to do stuff now. Yeah, you can work from home. Okay, you can.
Absolutely.
And we teach a lot of different things. Like back in the day when I started, you know, when me and Kent come out of the direct sales network marketing thing, but when the internet came about and social media, especially the internet, that was another disruption. And what I looked at, there was a I won't say a slogan or a saying going around that you need to concentrate on being the hunted instead of the hunter. That came from a book that came out back in, I think, 2008, 2009. Are you familiar with magnetic sponsoring?
No, I'm not.
Or the term attraction marketing?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let me see it. Let's see it. Okay, let me go get this book. It's right here. There was a guy, I think 2008, 2009. He wrote this book, Magnetic Sponsoring. His name is Mike Dillard. Actually, he's kind of this was the Bible, you would say, of internet marketing at the time. Okay. He wrote this book to get people to understand leveraging the internet, attracting people to you instead of chasing people around. You would get a different type of response, a different conversation going when people came to you about information that you had put out through either video marketing, any kind of content marketing type stuff. And that's what me and Kent have been using, that concept and teaching that concept to people, because the days of right now, the days of chasing people around really are over. You know, especially with this thing that's going on. And even, I don't even do that on using social media. I put out a lot of content through video or webinar type things that I'm doing here right now. So this is what the things we've been teaching different entrepreneurs. We teach everybody this. Anybody that wants to use social media as a source, be it in real estate, be it whatever. And the attraction marketing, well, you say, you know, attraction marketing or magnetic sponsor, it's just bringing valuable information to people who need it. Okay, that's all it is. It's not, you know, you don't try to sell people meatloaf if they're thirsty, if they need water. Okay, so you sell to people who need something to solve their pain point, their issue, whatever. We target specifically towards certain groups of people to solve a problem. I can't sell you nothing if I don't know what the problem you have or issue you have in your business or whatever. And that's one of the things we've been making a call to. And right now, everybody's problem is you can't go out and do business the way you used to do it.
Yeah.
That's what everybody's problem is. We just got different resources we have available to us to solve many people's problems. I mean, from using Facebook, from using Instagram, YouTube, all those type of things. So we have trainings and sources that we sometimes give out to people to take a look at, or we sell if they want, you know, if it, whatever it is that they're using or have an issue with. So that's what the whole thing about the ideal sunset Sunday was, because of the sunset, basically. Okay, I usually did this, especially in the summer, between about 9 o'clock. But now we've lost about 10, 15 minutes of sunlight. We've been doing this about 8:45 now. So that was the whole concept of this whole show, this whole platform, and everything. So you, what type of law do you do?
Civil rights and some criminal law.
Okay. I thought about going to law school at one time. I looked at going into entertainment law at one time.
Very necessary. Yes.
Yeah.
We certainly need entertainment lawyers. Absolutely.
Yeah. In fact, my dad, I thought was going. My mother used to say he was talking about going to law school at one time. My dad went to Ohio State. Both my dad and my mother went to Ohio State. At that time, you didn't find many Black people majoring in economics. That's what my dad majored in. Okay, so I guess in some sort of backward or around the way, all that kind of stuff, I inherited a little bit of that thing about economics and marketing and stuff from him or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's a necessity for us, especially the Black community, to understand how money works. Okay.
Absolutely.
How to understand all this type of stuff, from money to politics. Just had a conversation with my mom's brother in North Carolina, and they're getting affected too with this stuff down there in North Carolina.
Yes.
He works for Bank of America right now. He's working from home. He used to be a executive for Bank of America a long time ago. They laid him off. So he's been just doing contract stuff now. But, you know, he's working from home. He's back with the company that laid him off, but through a contract position. So you're right. Everything around here has changed. And we try and get, what our whole thing is to get people to understand it's changed, people. The so-called job that you're looking for, the way you used to do, truthfully, it's gone. It's gone.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, that's just the reality that we all have to adjust to. So the whole concept of let's go back to how things used to be, both in terms of the COVID pandemic and the race pandemic, none of us should be asking to go back to the way things used to be. They're not going to be the same moving forward.
Even if we are asking, it's not going to happen.
That's true too.
You know, we can ask all we want.
It's not going to happen on the pandemic side, but on the race side, if we don't struggle, we don't get any progress. And
are you familiar with Dr. Claude Anderson?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
and you know, some of what he's been preaching for a very long time. White wealth, Black labor. I mean, we just need to pay attention and do things differently. I think that my generation was that generation that our parents told us to, you know, make the most of quote unquote integration, get a great education so we can get good jobs. And we thought jobs would set us free, but jobs just change the in my opinion, the plantation that you work on.
Yeah,
we really need to pursue owning our own. And I would say this to people who are currently employed: nobody's asking you to quit your job today and not have a safety net. I have 5 children, and it's not just about me anymore, right? Mm-hmm. But when I made the transition from working full-time for someone else to working for myself, it was a process.
Mhm.
So I was working my day job and I was building my business on the side.
Mhm.
And I actually left my job before I had planned on doing so because there were some health issues that came up. But I think that was just God's way of also saying, you know, we're done.
Hallelujah.
Like, yeah. And
Yeah, I mean, we
so
always talk about build your dig. That Kent says dig your well before you need it, and we've never said to quit your job if you have one. But I always said start a home-based business or something. Don't go and try to find another job to the situation that you're already in. Doesn't make sense because with
I agree.
technology
But
now.
you know, a lot of the education that middle class and below gets in America is for you to be an employee. It is not for you to be a business owner. It is not for you to own anything.
Yeah.
Just the way our public education system was set up from the Carnegies and the Rockefellers who needed factory workers. This thing has been set up to condition us.
Are you familiar with Robert Kiyosaki's Conspiracy of the Rich?
I am familiar with Robert Kiyosaki's work. I'm not
There's a book.
excited. I'm not excited about the man himself and his racism, but I do and have read many of his works and do implement some of the things that he has said. But here's my thing with a lot of people who are preaching capitalism. Capitalism only works if there's an underclass or a group of people that you can exploit. And so for me as an entrepreneur, I am trying to figure out how do we create a different paradigm? How do we create wealth and make a difference in our communities and give people the opportunity to live up to their highest potential without it being about capitalism and, you know, finding a way basically to screw over people so that you personally benefit. And that's what capitalism is about. When people tell me, you know, how amazing America is, I say, you know what? If I could today go take a business from somebody else, get other people to work there for free for me for 400 plus years, and I keep all the profits, I would be pretty great too. So as much as we may, you know, as US citizens love this nation and all of that, we need to also ask ourselves, is this what we want to perpetuate? You know, because there is always going to, for capitalism to thrive, there always has to be an exploited class. So for business owners who are Africans, who are people of color, we need to ask ourselves, how do we want to operate? Are we just going to change who's sitting at the table, but the menu remains the same? Or are we going to fundamentally change how we do business, and how we see business, and how we define success?
Well, why
And
I was asking you this?
Those are tough questions for people to deal with right now because we've been so indoctrinated to see things in one way.
Why I asked you about the book, because that book talks about like the Rockefellers, the Carnegies, and the Rothschilds, okay?
Yeah.
The problem in our society is that we've been told a lie. We've been told a lie from day one about everything. Like you said, we weren't brought up to be entrepreneurs. We were brought up to be worker bees. In that book, he talks about the Rockefellers, the Rockefeller Foundation, who created a system called the General Educational Board, okay? This is right at the time that they implemented the Federal Reserve in 1913, okay? All these type of things happen all at once. Systematically done on purpose. Granted, they use Black people as a labor force for this country, but at the end of the day, they wanted to slave a whole lot of different people also. Okay. She's still on?
Okay.
I
yeah.
am on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting book because it gets into a lot of stuff about the Rothschilds and how he sent his 5 sons all around Europe to learn banking. He said it was more profitable to get loans from countries than from people. That was the way you can control the economics of each of these countries, okay? This is why we are in the situation we are in now, because of that type of system, that type of mindset. If you look at Woodrow Wilson, he's the one that sold out America. Why we got a Federal Reserve. A lot of people don't understand about the Federal Reserve. They think it's a bank. It's not even a bank. It's not even a federal entity. Okay. It's not even an American entity. Okay. So a lot of people don't understand that. It's a game. I think the biggest problem with Black folks, we're going to have to learn how to play this game to our benefit. We ain't going to just change capitalism. We're going to have to learn to play it to our benefit, to our own communities, to be competitive. And, you know, Claude Anderson always talks about being competitive, okay, in this capitalistic society. We got to learn to be, remember the term, Kent? Instead of being a consumer, you have to learn to be a prosumer. You have to learn to produce while you consume. And that's the mindset we're going to have to switch from, because we're the biggest consumers in this country, probably in the world. Okay? We're going to have to learn to produce while we consume and keep the money in our own communities. I grew up in North New Jersey, okay? I saw a lot of stuff. I've seen, my grandfather drove trucks for the mob, okay? I used to, as a kid, I remember going through Brooklyn, the Bronx, Little Italy, Chinatown, all these damn places. I've never seen a cop. I've been to Chinatowns all over this country. You don't have the same problem. The cops don't go into Chinatown messing around. They don't go into Little Italy and messing around. You know why? Dr. Claude Anderson talks about that, because they control their own economics. You don't go into China, you don't get caught black, white, or anything in Chinatown after dark. You won't come out. That sounds bad, but that's gonna have to be a kind of mindset you're gonna have to take to control a lot of stuff in your own community. You don't mess around in Little Italy, you don't mess around in China, you don't mess around in Koreatown, okay? Because they control the even laws, okay? So in his latest book, what is it, what is that called? Presumonomics or something. I have the book, I don't have it down here. But he talks about all these ladders of how all these other ethnic groups are able to control their economic wherewithal in their communities. So until we learn to be competitive and to compete, yeah, we're gonna always struggle, because we want to try to. You're not gonna be able to tear the thing of capitalism down. And I don't think that's where the so-called rich get mad. My problem with Democrats is that that's what they try to do, instead of teaching people how to compete within it. Okay, you're not gonna tear this stuff down. It ain't gonna happen.
Well, so that is certainly the prevailing thought process, is that we can't tear it down. We should just learn to play the game, the game better. I personally don't subscribe to that, because every time we've learned the rules and we've started to excel at the rules just get changed.
Well,
the
I
system
understand
itself,
that.
the system itself has to be dismantled. And if our generation is not willing to do it, maybe a future generation will do it. But I cannot in good conscience tell people, and I do run my own business, but I cannot in good conscience tell people just learn to be great at this game, because it does demand that it's exploiting a group of people. And that's not what I want to do.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying in any way to exploit. All I'm saying is,
but that's what capitalism does.
Learn the game to help your own people. I'm not worried about what everybody else is doing. I'm saying learn the game to help your own people. It's not about exploiting anything. Understanding the game so you can live and compete. That's not exploiting. That's surviving. That's living. Because if you don't, I don't care where you go, okay, in this country, in the world, if you do not learn certain things in it, you're going to be a liability. I mean, he even says it. Claude Anderson even says that in his book. In his last book that he got out now, he talks about all these type of things. We can't look at it as exploiting. We got to look at it as living within this game and making that game work for us. You had to make the game of education at Ohio State work for you to pass. It's all a game. If you know, a lot of times, I guess, if you never learn to play Monopoly and understand that game, that's all what it's about. And it's not, I'm not trying to say exploit anybody. I'm just saying take that, as Bruce Lee used to say, take what is useful and discard what isn't.
I agree with that. Absolutely.
Okay? And that's all I'm saying. We need to understand to do.
All right. Well, folks, as you can see, we are open to all viewpoints. Hey, that's what it's all about, because for the empowerment of our people. But just telling you folks who are in business or who's looking to invest in your business or to invest in businesses, this is something with some skill sets that we're going to have to learn. I know you gotta go. But we appreciate.
Can I ask you one thing, Aya? Where are you originally from?
Columbus, Ohio.
Okay. You were born in Columbus, Ohio?
I was born in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, okay. Where your family from?
My family's from the part of Africa now called Nigeria.
Okay. All right. I can hear the accent. That's why.
I know. And every time I answer the question, people look at me like I'm crazy. Like, I'm like, yeah, I was born here.
I got family that look at my grandparents and stuff, and they say, well, great grandparents. I said, well, they're from the islands, Cuba, Cienfuegos. Cienfuegos. I don't know if you're familiar with the Latin culture or whatever, or like Celia Cruz. Celia Cruz was a Cuban
Yes.
guarita. Okay, guarita is a African-based music genre. Everybody labeled her as a salsero. Her real music genre was guarita. Guarita is from the southeast part of the island where they grow the tobacco. Okay, it was real Afrocentric. When she came to America, to New York, that's where all the mixture of the South Side and all that other stuff comes from.
Yes.
You know,
because she had to make it here. She had to learn the game to make it here.
well,
yeah,
anywhere. I mean, you know, and it paid off for her. It opened doors for a lot of other people. You know, and that's all I've ever said. I've never said to exploit anybody. I've always said you learn the game to help your own kind. Because, hey, you look at all other ethnic groups, they came here, as Claude Anderson said, as unearned benefits. And they created a game to benefit themselves. So since Black folks got brought here as a labor force, and some of us were already here, got to learn to play the game to survive or to compete. Okay?
And I think I'll end on this note if it's okay with you. And I think just paying attention to the individual power that we possess and how we can harness it to bring about change for more people. So one quick example would be what very recently Beyonce did, where she walked into a meeting and they didn't have any person who looked like her in the meeting. So you want me to collaborate with you, and you guys are going to help develop my brand, you know, a brand or something for me with my name on it. And you didn't think that it was necessary to have anyone who looked like me here. And she got up and she left. She has that kind of clout to be able to do that. But what the message she has effectively sent to white America is, if you want to work with us, then you don't just get to use my face or my platform to sell your products. You have to bring other people who look like me around the table so that they're getting paid as graphic designers, as, you know, editors, as, you know, artists, whatever it is that genre is, or whatever that area is. And I think that sometimes we have been so content with getting our foot in the door and maybe being the exalted person of color or African American or whatever in the place, that the idea of figuring out how to use that power to open opportunities for other people isn't there. And then even when we talk about business, I do know people who are interested in businesses or running businesses, and that's why I applaud what you and Kent are doing. But the fact that you have a great idea doesn't necessarily mean that you have the technical know-how. And whereas other communities can say, you know, hey, I already run a laundromat, come and observe me and I'll teach you, and then we'll set you up on this other side of town. You don't always see that level of cooperation amongst us. It is starting to happen, and I pray that it happens more. And so I'm just grateful to you and Kent for the work that you're doing and the tools that you're bringing and strategies to share with entrepreneurs and those thinking about entrepreneurship. And I just say, you know, keep on doing it, because we need y'all.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for having me this evening.
No, okay.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for coming on. He told me this last week. I said, okay, you're the second person we've had on a guest on a panel like this. So we're trying to get more people from different viewpoints, backgrounds to hear what they have to say, because it makes those kind of show them a little more interesting, instead of just us on here spouting off what we know. It's interesting, you know. If you want to come back on again sometime, you're more than welcome.
Thank you.
If you got any other people that may be interested in what we want to come on and what we have to say, or you want to bring them on, or and tell people to tune in on Sundays. We do this every Sunday at 8:45. Now, when it starts getting darker earlier, the times will change. So I usually will put this out on Facebook, because we're streaming on Facebook also right now. Okay.
Yes.
I also have the link that, like I said, the link that Kent sent you. I got to keep in mind that after about 4 weeks, the invite link changes, because it only allows you up to a certain time, and then you have to reset all that stuff. And I didn't tell him. So, you know, it's just one of those things. It's just technology. It's just something I learned.
That's it. And we just adjust. We adjust and we keep it moving. So thank you so much for having me, and thank you for what you do. And Kent, you know, I love you. It's been 30-some years.
Yes, you know I love you too. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What part of Texas you said you live in?
I live in Belton, not too far from Fort Hood.
Okay. Because some of the people that we know live in like Austin.
Yeah, I'm about 45 minutes from Austin.
Okay. I've been through Texas, never been there through the upper panhandle, going to California and coming back. That's my stint of Texas. I've never been.
Never been. It's too hot. So.
I
take care.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right. Take care now.
I'll take care.
Okay.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Okay, man. That's cool. That's real cool. So, you know, like I said, it's I don't know.
Yeah. And folks, we just, you know we don't know everything, but we just are bringing different business perspectives to pass along to you. So as I stated before, so you can learn those whatever skill sets that you need to either start your business or take your business to the next level. Because like Greg said, in this, and I said, in this pandemic era, everything has flipped.
Yeah, it has, you know, and the whole when we was talking about the whole theme about this, we talk about a lot of things, even though I usually try to have a theme in this webinar type thing I do. One of the things we try to stress in anything is like I said, I talked about being a hunted instead of the hunter in business when you marketing, because you know, it's like any relationship, people don't like to be stalked. They like to look at stuff when they don't like to look at it, or they like to do it when they do. So this is why we, I'm trying to sit this. Okay, how to get back together. Okay, and we give content all the time. I give content all the time. So, and it's better if you got people who are coming to you about information, you have a better conversation with those people than you do trying to pester them about your business or whatever. And that's what we do. That's the whole, who is this? Sarah Renee. Okay, so my friend requested me. This the whole thing about marketing online is about bringing value to the marketplace, to people who need it, people who want it, need it. It's about that. And I was talking to some other people about that once before. I said, well, what makes you think? I always get people always, you know, they befriend me. And then one of the things that, who was it? It was on a training, was on a couple of weeks ago. They said, one of the things she said, well, what makes you think that I need what you got to offer? You know, just because somebody has entrepreneurship, network marketing, don't mean they need you. You need to find out if they need whatever it is you sell. And this is part of that, being hunted about certain things, bringing out more content. Information is power, people. We are in what they call the information age. And the information age is about sharing information to the right people. Those right people take their information, they either connect with you for more information, et cetera, et cetera. So this is one of the things what we do with this, the Sunset Sundays, to try to share that information out. And also, like the panelists we had, Aya from Texas, on different viewpoints, because you're gonna need different viewpoints to get a perspective of what people are thinking, what people may need, what people may not need. What do you think about that, Kent? What's your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, and like I just said earlier, yeah, we know, Greg and I know we don't have the answers for everything, and we appreciate when guests come on and offer their viewpoints. We may agree, we may disagree, but their viewpoints are valid and it is sound, and you can implement some of those things that you may agree with, and if some things you don't agree with, you don't have to worry about that. You know, everybody's not going to be in a monolith thinking the same way about everything. But we're just putting it out there on the premise that for those of you who are in business or are looking to start your business, you gotta learn, again, I'm gonna keep saying this, you gotta learn some different skill sets to take your business to the next level.
Well, anytime you do something new, there's always something you gotta learn, skill sets you gotta learn. And it doesn't matter what it is, marketing, playing football, sports, you gotta learn skill sets there. You know, dribbling the ball, whatever it is.
Yep, you have to learn it and apply it.
Yeah, and it just learning it is not gonna help anything. You got to apply it. You know, knowledge without application is just knowledge that you got, and it does nobody any good. Right. I just saw that John Saxon of Enter the Dragon died. White guy that was in Enter the Dragon that fought Bolo. He died.
Yeah, I saw that earlier. At first, I didn't believe it because it was just, I was like,
I saw it on a martial arts platform that I'm on, and I hadn't heard anything on TV about it. I mean, John Saxon was known for a lot of different things. I mean, that's probably one of his biggest claim to fame was Enter the Dragon, fighting with Bruce Lee, but still, I didn't think about it.
Obviously, he had been in a lot of
Yeah. I hear,
He had been
what's her name from Gone with the Wind died? Olivia de Havilland?
Yeah,
She died.
yeah,
They
she was
like leaving in
104.
Regis
Yeah.
Fearbin,
Mm-hmm.
Kathy and Regis and Kathy. He left. He gone. So as they leaving in they say they're leaving
Yep.
threes. Hell, this time they left in what, 4s or 5s. You know.
Oh, oh man.
I mean, think about it. You got John Lewis. You had Regis.
Mhm.
You had Olivia de Havilland. The guy from Fleetwood Mac, drummer, somebody Colbert, he just died.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that is 5.
Yeah, so you know, it's you know, I don't know. It's the whole that whole era. I guess that's part of mine too. We're leaving.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. So I guess I'm caught in between.
Mm-hmm.
I'm caught in between the Gen X and the latter part of the baby boomers. I'm in that bracket now.
Oh yeah, I'm well, I'm smack dab in the middle of Gen X. So.
But I thought that was a good webinar session. Got a different perspective of what thoughts.
Yeah, and it's good to have that. I mean, I know as much as you and I'm like to chop it up. It's good to have some variety up in here. So
So you went to school with her? Was she? You say your degrees in political science, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you two probably would have hit it off because of her political views on certain things.
Yeah.
I guess, I just come from a different perspective because where I was raised and what I was exposed to kind of made me think a little deeper about what really, even I was talking with my mom's brother, and I said, you guys are still talking about the popular vote. I said, why does the Democratic Party always emphasize so much about the popular vote when that doesn't matter about winning the White House? I never get that about Democrats in the mindset of that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and to be honest, that is something and with the benefits of the business that we're in, that is something I had to learn about marketing. And the reason that Trump did what he did, because he knew how to say what you want about him, and I have. The man is a master marketer. He knows you don't market. You don't
That's
have
the
to
only
market.
thing I can give him. That's the only thing I can give him is the strategy that he used, regardless whether he won the popular vote and when he was crying about it, but that's a narcissism of him.
Right.
But at the same time, he understood the game was 270.
Right.
And this is what Democrats are going to have to get out of the mindset of this popularity shit that does not correlate sitting in the White House. Because if it was, we would be talking about President Hillary Clinton instead of Trump. Okay? And we got to quit with that, because if we keep with that mindset, it's going to be 4 more years of him.
Right. Because he really, I mean, but I think he even he couldn't plan for this. But I will say this: he's trying that same thing. He knows who to market to, what the pain points are, and he keeps hitting it enough as I really don't need everybody. I just need 270. That's
right.
That's his basis of thinking.
What we do in network marketing, you don't need a certain amount of people to make a success in your business, and it has to be a certain right people. That's why I said you have to learn to be the hunted instead of the hunter, because at the end of the day, it's about the right people. We get so much caught up in the big numbers of likes and follows and all that other stuff. What are those likes and follows doing for your business? Okay, one of the things that you got to answer to yourself, what are they doing for your business in the standpoint of how they helping your business grow, scale, or whatever? You can have all the likes and all that stuff you want. If it's not generating revenue for your business, why? Why even bother? Why even talk about it? It's a waste of time. And like I said, it's a waste of time talking about popular this and that when it doesn't win your objective. And we need to get off of that mess thinking that that means something. I think a lot of people got caught up in the Obama thing in 2008 because he won both. This ain't Obama. Obama's reign is over with. We're dealing with 2020, going to 2021, and what we're going to do about this shit now versus all the other stuff. We messed up with the 2016 because we got caught up in all this popularity stuff. That don't mean nothing. Is he have a, does Biden versus Trump have a way, does Biden have a way that could block off Trump from getting to 270 first? That's what you need to look at. That's the game. We didn't talk about what we can be idealistic about. Well, like I was saying, trying to tell Aya, we can be idealistic what should be versus what is. Okay? And idealism is fine if it's dealing in realism. We got to understand that we have to deal in the aspect of the game from what it is. And like I said, it's not about exploiting anybody. It's about, if anything, if you're gonna talk about exploit, use the game against the people who are doing it. Every system is designed for the people who develop the system. The trick is learning to play that system and use it against them. That's economics right there. Economics is a system. Economics is a game. Okay? We can't get emotional about it because that's not going to help anything either. We got to understand there's a game that we're dealing with, and that game has to be used to help your own self. Nobody's going to care whether you think, oh, this capitalism is exploit. Nobody cares. What are you going to do to help use it to help you? Did you guys have to play the game up at Ohio State or what they did to get that graduate, the degree? I'm pretty sure there was a game up there that you had to play or do if you wanted that degree or whatever. So I don't know why people think that it's going to change from that platform to the real world. All of it's a game. Yeah, you can decide whether you want to get out of the sandbox or not, not play it. But if you understand the game and manipulate the sandbox to your own well-being, so be it. That's it. I mean, there ain't nothing else to be said. If we understand that, the game of economics is going to always be the biggest thing that we're going to have to learn to deal with. Okay, in anything, you can, even in religion, economics plays a part. Okay, so we got to understand that. And money's power. They say money talks and bullshit walk.
It runs the marathon. Huh? It runs the marathon.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we can talk about what should be, what it ain't. Okay. So and that's why when I talk about religion and stuff, because I still we can sit back. If it was so easy to sit on my ass and not do nothing and just believe, like so many people act like that's their whole thing, why not? But that don't work that way. You got to put some action behind of whatever faith, whatever you believe. Action speaks louder than words. And we can talk all this shit. We got to put action to whatever we want to do, whatever we want to accomplish. We could talk till we blue the face. I know so many of us run off out the grill and don't do shit. We know some people that do that. I mean, it's the same to say that from that standpoint, but what am I do? What am I say? So, okay, well, I think we've had a, what is it, 10, 15?
Yeah, yes, 10-15.
So we've been on here about an hour. I usually about an hour and a half. It's probably
Yeah.
good.
Oh yeah.
Any other thoughts, Kent?
I think we had a great conversation, great webinar, great insights, and if hopefully you all did get value from this video, like it, share it. Like as Greg and I said it before, we have the cookie, ladies and gentlemen, for you to learn skill sets. As we stated before, you just meet us halfway. It's like, oh, how's it been said? Like the prospectors back in the day, like the old 49er days. We're not the ones out there digging and prospecting for gold. We're giving you the tools to help you do that, so to speak.
Yeah, we already got the tools, access to resources, to help leverage and get time back, time and lifestyle. Because at the end of the day, most of y'all don't want another job. Y'all want a lifestyle to do what you want to do. Even if it is to sit on your butt and not do nothing. You still got to have money to pay your bills or whatever. Okay? So we got tools for you to set up systems. We got tools for you to set up things that will leverage, that help you make money while you sleep. We got programs, trainings, all those type of things available to you if you meet us halfway. But I'm not going to just put them out on comments or here so you can do that. You got to ask for them. I don't know which one out here that is interested in what we have to offer. We always talk about the things that we have to offer. We work from a system, a training platform. Yes, it's called My Lead System Pro. Okay, some of y'all know about it, some of y'all don't. But we have those tools. They're the tools that we use to do the things that we know, some of the things that we're doing right now, where we learn to do things. If you're interested in learning what we're doing, how to do them, get in touch with one of us. That's all I'm asking to do, okay? Because it's like I leave links to get on these webinars, okay? If you want information how to work Facebook, I got the info, baby. YouTube, Instagram, whatever it is that you want to learn to market on properly and not spam people, we have the information. You just got to meet us halfway, people. Like I said, if you want to get on, I have a newsletter. It's Gregorysmith.online. I'll give you that, tell you that. If you're interested in that, Gregorysmith.online. Oh, no, Gregorysmith.online. Let me rephrase it. Gregorysmith.online is my newsletter to keep abreast of information when we go live on Sundays. Has that information too. So that's what I will give you. Any more stuff, you're going to have to get in contact with us. Instant messages, DM, whatever. However, you see me, I'm on my Facebook page. We do this every Sunday, 8:45. Probably be soon it'll probably change back to 8:30, depending on when the sun gets, we start losing daylight more. So with that being said, I always say that Sunday nights, the heart attack rate goes up. And a lot of times it's going to go up for people who hate their job because of situation we are going in, but you don't have to be a victim of that. Just change some things that you're doing. Help yourself. Oh, she just said, pleasure meeting me. Whatever it is, okay? Because like I said, you are going to have to make that decision. We are just resources. We open the door, you got to walk through it. Like I said, you drop dead at your desk, your home biz or whatever tomorrow, they'll replace you and your job will be in the paper before your obituary will do. You know, so even if you're working from home, that ain't your business. Okay? And like we said earlier, we're not telling people to quit their business, quit their job. We're telling people to start a home-based business as a supplement if you're working. As a supplement. You hear me? Not to quit, as a supplement. That's where we'll help you with.
And that's what I'm doing. Yes, I can speak from experience. I'm still working from home at a quote unquote regular job, but I know that job is not guaranteed. Like Greg said, if I should shuffle off this mortal coil and go to the great beyond, my replacement will be by the end of next month. My replacement will be ready to go, and I don't know if my obit will be ready by then. I hope it would, but you know how that goes. So that's why I'm building this. And as we said in last week's discussion, you can't will your job to your kids. And again, they probably wouldn't want it if you tried to anyway.
Yeah, ain't nobody wants your job, no way. Now, people may want your business, especially if it's already set in place where it's putting out passive income and all you got to do is collect the check. Now, how would you like that? That's what, they say the Bible says, Proverbs says, leave an inheritance to your children's children. What do most brown and black people leave? A bill. Some of y'all got to get a GoFundMe page just to bury them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what we're talking about, folks. That's what we're talking about. Build business now, build the well now, so you don't have to go through all that shit then. You also should have insurance also. Cover all bases that you need to cover, okay? So you don't get caught in that kind of stuff. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed what we said today. Join us here every Sunday, 8:45, me and Kent. On that note, we getting ready to sign off. My name is Greg Smith. This is Kate Robinson. Peace.
Until the next time, everybody, stay safe, wash your hands. Even though I feel like we shouldn't have to say that, but I mean, as this thing gets, we still don't see it.
And wear your damn mask, people.
Yes.
Wear your mask when you're out in crowds. It's not about you so much as about the other people that you could affect.
Right. If you couldn't wear it while driving, that would be great. I mean, if that's the way that's the best way you can remember to wear your mask, then okay, I'm gonna leave that alone.
All right. Well, we're out of here. People have a great week. Take care. We're out.